if I'm celebrating Christmas December 25th, to be honest, I don't care if it has an idol worshiping holiday. That does not mean that I will give it to them and let them own it.
But apparently Christians at that time used it as they jumped onto it and used it as a way to convert others to Christians. So it's almost like they appropriated that holiday period, made it Christmas so that they can use that to
That's why I'm celebrating. I'm not celebrating because, for Christmas, Christ actually said we should celebrate it.
Is where in the Bible? For example, even in churches, we put Christmas tree up.
Okay. Yes,
it
was very contentious.
Sometimes close to the altar.
So very contentious.
So this type of person coming to the church.
Yes.
I'm saying that, right?
Yeah. What are they thinking?
Every time somebody, look, it's not that I don't believe in juju, but or every time somebody brings it up and says that don't do that, this thing is. Have you seen how they've turned a man to a cat and all those things?
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to look left and right.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about, as Christians, should we celebrate Christmas, Easter, and even Halloween? These celebrations like Christmas and Easter, they have sparked a lot of debates among Christians, among different denominations. Some celebrate. Some don't. Some believe, it's a very, big red flag if we do it, if we celebrate. So today we are going to dive into historical, cultural, and biblical perspective, to explore what it really means to celebrate these holidays as Christmas, or to celebrate these holidays. So, AY, have you always celebrated Christmas? And if so, if not, why not?
There's a period of my life where I didn't celebrate Christmas, but I've always celebrated Easter. And then those are the two things I celebrate.
So why were you not celebrating Christmas at that time?
At that time, it was more of, there was this debate then that Christmas is not the right time.
Okay.
Or how did they come about it and stuff like that. So the church I was attending at that particular time, we would do crusade.
During that time?
Yes. So instead of celebrating Christmas, we'll go to the crusade and go and stay there for like 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
And just use that time to seek the face of God and do other things.
Okay.
I used to love the crusade because I love the crusade for two things.
There's
not
food.
like now. There's free food. And I'm meeting all
the
my friends.
people. Yeah, okay.
Everybody you've missed.
Will come.
Everybody will come.
Yeah.
And we'll sometimes, that
was the purpose of the crusade to also prevent people from falling into the trap of like celebrating like your fellow Christians celebrating at that time?
No, the debate was on.
Okay.
The debate was on.
Yep.
Should we be celebrating it or not? So it was like, as my kid head then, I think the church just introduced that crusade.
Okay.
To just, let's not flog it. Right, wrong. Okay, we're coming to crusade ground. Finish.
Okay.
Case closed. Come and say, okay, you want to celebrate it. Come and do it in the presence of God. Because the thinking, like my mom explained it to us, okay, you want to celebrate Christmas, right? Okay, the church is willing to give you rice on that day and chicken.
Okay.
Isn't that what you want to eat?
Can you say Merry Christmas?
Then there's no Merry Christmas. So in that morning, what I noticed is during that crusade ground, every time is the 25th and the 26th.
Yeah.
Right? On the 26th in the church will give gifts.
Okay.
On the 25th, they will talk about the death, the resurrection, and all those things about Christ, its significance and everything.
Okay.
So that's what will be on those 2 days.
Yeah.
That second day when they are giving gifts, the women group of the church is giving. So you can collect like 10 gifts too. The youth will give. The women will give.
Yeah.
Adult members, men, excellent men.
Yeah.
This.
Okay.
So as a kid, you have like 10 gifts. You're like, cool.
So it's still showing some element of Christmas.
They were not celebrating.
They
are saying the church gave you. It's two different things. Okay. I understood what they were doing. They are not saying we are celebrating Christmas. They are saying we are here as church members
Okay.
in a communal space,
Yeah.
as a community, praising God and worshiping and praying, having a solemn time away from the public.
Yeah.
And we have now come, but while we are at it, we're going to celebrate one another.
All right.
Well,
So I mean, I think before we even move to Easter, they're kind of similar. One of the greatest, debates is that time is not accurate. That time, December 25th, is not when Christ was born. Okay. Now, it has also been linked to, a certain idol. I know Olaide has some perspective that I want to share with us, so you can go ahead.
So I just did a bit of research, obviously using like ChatGPT, Wikipedia, all those places, and they said that. So they said Christmas. Of course, it's rooted in the Christmas tradition as a celebration of Christ's birth, but it actually coincides with like this ancient pagan winter solstice festival to encourage conversions to Christianity. So it seems like obviously Christmas, the origins of it is actually in Christ's birth, but the period was chosen during the time, a similar time in which other pagan religions were celebrating their own festival period or something like that. But apparently the Christians at that time used it as they jumped onto it and used it as a way to convert others to Christians. So it's almost like they appropriated that holiday period, made it Christmas so that they can use that to obviously feel free to fact check me. This is just some quick research that I found, but I think the fact is that the question was, is Christ's birth actually on the 25th? It really actually doesn't matter.
Do we know? We don't know.
Do we know? I think it's pretty tricky for people to find out.
Because of the calendar system.
There's calendar different systems. I don't know whether they were using the Gregorian calendar at that time, but I think for us Christians, the fact is that it really doesn't matter. I don't think it really matters for us, whether you want to do it on the 5th of December or 25th of December.
Yeah.
As long as the point of glorifying Christ's birth, that's the importance, the intention behind it. That's what draws out the importance. I'll quickly just say Easter as well. That's an interesting one. Obviously, for those who don't know, Easter is a celebration of Jesus' death and resurrection. And it also holds connection to older spring fertility celebrations and Anglo-Saxon goddess Ostra. So who really actually knows whether this was really... I think Easter is a lot closer to being factually correct, although I think people say that it was actually in March, but because there were actually a couple of couple of minutes less than what is counted today, it ended... a couple of extra, I think it's either extra minutes added or less than what a total day is calculated today. So it meant that Easter ended up being pushed back. So it started off I think in March 18th, then got pushed back to end of March, then got pushed to early April. And then I think the Roman Catholic Church, I believe, again, somebody please fact check me, the Roman Catholic Church solidified it during that period. And it's continuously been in that period.
And that day, did it start off in terms of idol worshipping? Is there an idol, is there a goddess that was being worshipped at that Easter? Because from what I've heard, the Easter itself, the name is the name of a goddess. You can fast check me too, but it's really linked to to a goddess, and I haven't done my delegate research like Olaide, but the question we want to ask is, does it really matter if Christ wasn't born on Christmas Day and he didn't die on Easter? Let's assume that was not the case. Is it still okay to celebrate those days as Christ's birth and resurrection?
Yeah, it makes no difference.
Why is that?
We're venerating our Lord and Savior. We're venerating what He did. In fact, it's almost like saying that, look, it's just a day that we've chosen that, look, this day of the year, we're going to venerate.
What if that day is directly linked to a certain idol or goddess?
Intention. If your intention is to celebrate that idol, then it's wrong. If your intention is to celebrate Christ, there are so many holidays today. There's Women's Day, there's Men's Day, there's all these other things. eventually you're gonna have some clashes of certain holidays with other holidays. But just because they're
But I think the people that are
holidays
against it is not that there's clashes. The people that are against it is that this day and celebration started
as a pagan.
Worship.
Yes.
Okay, and now culture, has made it now something
I
of
think
Christ.
it doesn't matter.
So they believe that by picking those days. I've even had a conversation with someone that said, one of my friends, he told me that if I send him Merry Christmas on Christmas Day, he will block me. It's that extreme. But I think people that actually refuse to serve it, like use that day. One of the things that they say is that it has now become very secular. Like on Easter, you have Easter Bunny. On Christmas, you have Santa. You have there's a problem with that, right?
Yeah, but I think that's why it's the motive and intention. Because, like, look, there are people who say that the dedication of the Sabbath is actually a Saturday. Then people say it's a Friday. Then people even say it's a Sunday. I mean, does it really matter? As long as you're following through on your dedication to Christ on that day, or you're celebrating and venerating his death and resurrection on that day, or you are celebrating his birth and entry into this world on that day, that is all that matters. Where it becomes wrong is where we misappropriate the terms, the reason of that season, and you start extending it to other things. Like, for example, I'm a big believer in that the corporations and institutions have used this type of holidays to get us to buy things that are unnecessary and use it for their own purposes. But on a normal Christmas, like me and my family, we use that as a time to come together. We'll pray, we'll celebrate. Even my wife was there. We did it, and we enjoyed each other. And that is the spirit of why Christ came into this world.
We Christians, a lot of the times, we actually we see things black and white. Right?
Yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest challenge, because for me, my perception is, like you've mentioned, like intention, motive. I think that's very important. If I'm celebrating Christmas December 25th, to be honest, I don't care if it has an idol worshiping holiday. That does not mean that I will give it to them and let them own it. Because again, anything that makes us be conscious of Christ, even some people even use that opportunity to share the gospel.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't think we should just lay back and actually let the idol or goddess claim that day, but then I also don't think there's anything wrong if your conscience, does not allow you to celebrate that day. I think you are perfectly okay. Like, I don't think it's a problem. If your conscience, there's a place in the Bible where, Apostle Paul was talking about food given to idols. Okay. So he said, idols are nothing. Right? If a food has been sacrificed to idols, you bless it, you will eat it. Paul must like food like me. But he also said that if there's another believer, maybe a new believer or whatever, that feels like by you eating a food sacrificed to an idol, his conscience is not okay with it. He thinks there's something wrong with that. He said he will not eat it. He said, in fact, he will not even eat meat again. Okay. So does that mean that, you celebrate Christmas now? If you have someone living with you, or and they see this as a deep problem and a deep issue, how would you react to it?
So it's a matter of, I will enlighten the person as to there's two things that have now happened. If the history says, oh, it wasn't a Christian birthday, it wasn't the day Jesus was born, but then the Roman Catholic as a church now has hijacked it and then turned it to the time for Easter and Christmas. Christians are now doing it, and the corporate world is now also almost hijacking it from us, and they are using it for merchandising and all those things. Then I'm a Christian. I'll stick with what the church has done. So I'll be enlightening the person to say, I get that. And I can't do anything to whatever culture and history and everything says. I can't do anything. What I can do is, these 2 days I'm marking it, or these 3 days, I'm marking it to celebrate my Lord and Savior.
Okay.
That's all, that's what I so what do I do on these 2 days? On the first one, which is Easter, I celebrate with you, I share the birth of Jesus Christ with you and its meaning to the world. And then For Christmas, I celebrate the death and resurrection and its meaning to the world with us. I'm dedicating these 2 times for that, for my religion and everything. And so I will educate the person concerning that. And that's why I'm celebrating. I'm not celebrating because, and you know, for Christmas, Christ actually said we should celebrate it.
Is where in the Bible?
Remember, this is my body. This is my blood.
Yeah.
As long as you do this in remembrance of me.
But he's not celebrating.
That's a command to celebrate him. that's a command to continue to. Okay.
To celebrate his birth.
No.
Easter.
I've forgotten now. That's a command to do. What is this thing called?
Holy Communion.
Holy Communion.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
I can do. Anyway.
Okay. So because that's one thing actually. Like in the scripture, there is nowhere, and people say disciples. Like the disciples also did not celebrate. They did not celebrate Christmas and Easter.
They didn't do so because possibly they were focused on the commission.
So we are not focused on the commission.
We are focused on
doing it. Yeah.
Different season for different dimension of things and different. I don't fight those things.
Yeah.
I don't even disturb myself about
with argument. Yeah.
I will say something to you. If Paul was to see a television in his vision during that time, how will you describe it?
A strange object, you know. Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
If I was to see some things when I read it in the Bible now, I will look at things around me now and say, you know, when John visited heaven, I was describing heaven. He said the ground was made with gold. Those are the things he could relate it with. So one day this was when I was still a kid, my mom told me, it's not gold. What he saw, he does not know how to describe it.
Yeah.
So he's looking around him at that particular time to say, what can I say so that people will know that this is what I saw. So it is possible that some of the things Daniel saw, or these things in the Bible, when I read it now, I look around me. Is there something that looks like that? That he saw? Because Daniel was probably in something BC, before Christ. He sees something that is happening in 2017. Right?
Yeah.
And you know, there's also the Bible has the dream of Nebuchadnezzar. Is it Nebuchadnezzar?
Yeah.
The statue, different times and season, different times, the head of iron, the feet of. So I look at those things also and I'm saying, there are visions. And there are people who are seeing visions of the future now, and they are describing things that you cannot phantom.
Yeah.
So I look at it that way. So I don't fight time and seasons and all those things. Because it's God Almighty that understands those things.
Okay.
So
all right. So I mean, when you're talking, you said our secular, our culture has influenced some of these things. Like now, when you think about December 25th, what people think about is Santa gifts. You know, when you think about Easter, yes, the public holiday, but you see chocolates
and everything
you see
of it.
Yeah, what do you even call? There's also this
rabbit.
Yeah, rabbit. But there's also this bread that they sell in
crossbones.
Yeah, crossbones. Yeah, you start to see. It's probably already. You start to see it in the shop. So how like as a Christian living in this world, like for example, would you let your child participate in like Santa, gift giving? Would you let your be Easter bunny, all of those things? How would you deal with that and still hold the significance of the message? It's a tough one. It's a tough one because it's like contrary.
Well, I'd even say that's probably the most important question because I don't think anybody has an issue with venerating Christ and celebrating his death. It's the context of the added things that the secular culture of today has added. You know? So I was talking to a friend of mine at church, and she was telling me that don't celebrate Christmas. Don't you know that Christmas is wrong? It's like for idol, it's pagan because the Bible even talks about it. I'll just even read the Bible verse that she noted to me. This is Jeremiah 10. I know we said we won't read the Bible too much here, but Jeremiah 10, 3-4. It says, "For the customs of the peoples are worthless. They cut a tree out of the forest, and a craftsman shapes it with his chisel. They adorn it with silver and gold. They fasten it with hammer and nail nails so it will not totter. So, like, people have often used that kind of verse.
That's a Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's a symmetry to.
But are you buying down to it?
That's a complete lie. And the reason I say that, at best you can say it's metaphorically, it's an analogy towards it or metaphorical to it. But what that is actually talking about is that those who, so right here, the Bible talks about those during Jeremiah's time who will create their own gods they create their gods with their own hands. So they'll get a tree, they'll hammer it, put it together, and then if you look later in that verse, it talks about how those idols, they can't talk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So look, nobody is celebrating a tree. Nobody is venerating it. When we put a tree up, we're not venerating. Tree is decorative. It's there just to give children, like, if it's just. My wife even jokes she thinks I'm not the type of person to celebrate or put trees up. Surprise her.
But you surprised her this
I
last
surprised
Christmas,
her
huh?
because look, I'm not putting that thing up to say that this is our new God that we're celebrating.
Yeah.
I put it up to say this is a decorative thing for us to have in the house, for us to to showcase that we're enjoying the season. And I think as long as I delineate or separate this idea that a tree is for a certain idol worship or reason, and I say no, this tree is just for decorative reasons, it is absolutely fine. And for kids more so, it gives them as a reason to look forward to, they can symbolize Christmas as a period where they can come together as a family, they can celebrate and enjoy it together, and all these decorations are all part of it, part of them for you to enjoy.
But for that person that is telling you this verse, if their conscience is saying, me seeing this tree, this is what it's signifying.
Yes.
How would you deal with that situation? Like, for example, even in churches, we put Christmas tree up. Okay.
Yes. It was very contentious.
Sometimes close to the altar.
So very contentious.
So this type of person coming to the church.
Yes.
I'm saying that, right?
Yeah. What are they thinking?
Yeah. Look, I would love to hear your view as well.
Yeah.
But look, hopefully this person will watch this episode and they can hear my reply now. Look, I think that, if again, you ask yourself, if this is affecting your faith and it's causing you burden, first of all, I'll say you can speak to the pastor and hear what the pastor's thoughts about it, but at the end of the day, it's more decorative, If you ever got the feeling that the church was using this as a way to move away from Christ and celebrate something else, or give...
If you were the pastor, and you have a couple of people like that in church,
have to ask the right questions, don't you?
What would you do? Would you take the Christmas tree down?
First of all, I have to balance members in the church, but I would say that. Can you tell me why this is I'll try to.
They'll give you the verse. I feel like this is idol worship.
And the verse. The verse. If you read the proper context of Jeremiah 10, it literally talks about those who make idols for themselves by putting them together. And I would say that, look, we are not putting this tree up to create an idol. We are simply putting this up as a decorative measure so that we can show off the season that we're enjoying. It's like saying that we should never have decorations, because anything that you celebrate and you have the decorations, you're upholding them as the idol.
I think it's important to have this conversation, because in Christian world today, we have so many denominations.
Your time is coming.
We have so many denominations, and sometimes it's things like this that make people break out of the church.
Honestly,
if it's not dealt with,
schism.
it causes issues. So what's your view on this, AY?
Yes, I can hear you breathe loudly.
Guys, okay, I hear what Lady is saying in terms of, when you ask about how is he going to tell his kid about it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be a very fine balance between you trying to explain that the way Easter bunnies is being, the corporate world is using Easter bunny to celebrate Easter, and using Christmas tree and all those things to celebrate Christmas. It's not the right thing for it. You're trying to explain to your kid that is how the world celebrates that.
But it's more exciting for them.
I'll bring out something like that. That's the way the world celebrates it. But what it connotes for us as Christians is a time to worship God.
Okay.
As a kid, while we were growing up, let's ask ourselves this question. What captivates you more? The way the world celebrates it, or what it connotes for us as a Christian?
You're collecting chocolate.
That's not even a
So you
question.
get what,
Yeah.
what I'm saying
But to be honest,
is,
even
what,
kids at that time, they
wait
can't even
now,
pray.
wait.
So
Who
it's
says
like-
kids cannot
no,
pray
no,
now?
kids can pray, of course, but at a young age, they
What
don't really
what
understand it.
captivates you more? What I'm trying to say is,
Even now,
Christians,
like they don't do like that.
the jollof rice and all those
We're
things.
live.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that, you know, to find that fine balance
Yes.
is going
I
to
agree.
be hard. And Christ has already warned us
Yeah,
of certain
yeah,
things.
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to bring this out because I like this topic. I've been waiting for this. You see, Christ has warned us that this thing is going to get progressively worse. It's not going to get better. These corporate things are going to be more. There's going to be more of this pressure on us. There's going to be more of this introduction of things on us as the church, as brethren. Are we watching out for all these little signals that is now coming into us? Now, I grew up, that church that I told you about, for not to mention names, they don't put up any decoration
Yeah.
during Christmas.
Yeah.
They don't put it up till we go to camp. And in the camp, you will not see any tree, or you will not see any Easter bunny, or you will not see anything. It is dedicated to worshiping of God and the significance the church has given to that time. That's all we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they purposely do it so. As time goes on, I began to realize, why is it that they're against the world and everything? Then there was a time a brother in the church told me that, Hayo, what do you think was different in Paul's church in Athens? When Paul got to Athens, what do you think was different? There's a way the people were doing things. When Paul got there, things were different in his church. The way they pray, the way they do all these things, the way they evangelize, everything was different, such that people could see, they could tell these guys that are following Paul are different from us. They can tell. So why is the church trying to be like the corporates? So when he said that, I said, is that why the church don't put up the Easter bunnies? And they said, yeah. The church has to set its own standard and say, this is how we do our own things.
Yeah.
And I get, so the fine line now,
It's
fine
not
line
stricken.
is that if we now go straight, like that church I was attending then,
Yeah.
that went point blank.
Yeah.
We are not going to do the merchandising.
Yeah.
We're going to strictly focus on the reason we say we took this thing from the pagan guys and stick to it.
But we're there saying it's Christmas.
Now, that's being smart with their information,
Yeah.
and not causing unnecessarily controversy so that they are now in the news or they are doing this for it.
Yeah,
But I believe that as a kid then, if I have asked the questions from the pastor, maybe I would have had more understanding.
Yeah,
But as I
yeah.
grew up, because they've kept the culture,
Yeah.
till date, that's how they still do it.
Yeah.
Is if I go and ask them and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, what they are trying to do is not give out the essence of that period. Because the corporate guys are dominating. My first year in Australia, during that period, you know, the church will say we should go for evangelism. And I asked a few Australians, they said, it's a time to come together and share and enjoy. And I was like, no, that's not the reason. I thought that it was the first person. We asked the first person. We asked the second person. We asked the third person.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing they were saying. I'm like, whoa. And the people we met were Christians. That's the funny thing. They were Christians. I'm like, oh. These guys don't know that.
This is how we do it.
These guys don't even know that it is not about the Easter bunny and the sharing and everything.
Yeah.
It is about
But
Christ.
Can we say that they don't know though?
But that's the answer they gave us. Like, they didn't say it is about Christ. They said it's a time for sharing and being with your family and enjoying your time, the public holiday and everything. Those are the things they were talking about.
And they said they were Christians.
And they said they were
Okay,
Christians.
that's an issue.
But did they
That's an
neglect?
issue.
So you're saying that they neglected to talk about Christ.
Christ. And they
So
use
if
it for
someone,
the
if
that's
other
an
reasons.
issue,
if
yeah.
someone asks you,
And that
if
is
someone
what-
asks you
and that
about
is-
Christian,
wait, let me finish, please.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, that it is a fine line,
Yeah.
and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for us to keep that fine line as time goes on.
Yeah.
Because there will be more pressure.
So will you
And the church
will you
will want
give
to
will you
conform.
give your kids chocolate on Easter bunny?
Personally, you know, as the way it is now, I go with the flow. I won't lie.
Okay.
But I'm waiting for a time where I'm able to explain these things to my kids.
Okay.
So
Right.
if I then
Because
my
it's-
mom
yeah.
explained it to me in a certain way, up to
Yeah.
a certain point,
Yeah.
that I now have the understanding.
Yeah.
I'm praying. In fact,
Because
I
as a
won't
child,
lie.
you don't. You're
Let me
like,
even-
yeah.
Let me even say this.
Yeah.
It's on camera. There's one thing that I pray. I pray for God. Give me the magic of being able to transmit the same information my parents gave me to my children. Because sometimes I just wonder, how did they do it? Was it that they were intentional about where they took us to, and they were intentional about the things they talked to us about, and all those things? But I'm reading more about that. Anyway.
We've talked about Christmas and Easter, which I think are very important. Those are traditional Christian holidays. Now let's talk about Halloween, which happened October 31st. When I did a little research on Halloween,
So you did research as well?
yeah, on something
We are
different.
competing research. Okay, go ahead.
This one is definitely, it has nothing to do with Christian or Jesus. It's an ancient Celtic, Roman, and Christian influences. Actually, it originated from Celtic festival of Samhain, which marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. Celebrated in August 31st, it is believed that it's the veil between the living and the dead, that those spirits could return on earth. So they lit bonfire, wore costume to, take away those evil spirits for them coming. So there is Roman influence, there is Christian influence, but the modern day of Halloween, people dressed up as saint angels or demons, go to door and do trick or treating, and it's a big holiday now, especially in the Western culture. So, this one it looks even a little bit more scary,
So this is funny thing, just an extension of your research, because your research came up similar to mine. But funny enough, Halloween, the name, is actually derived from a Christian term.
Okay.
Do you know what Halloween is?
No.
All Hallows Eve.
Okay.
All Hallows. So the word hallow, I'm sure some of you are familiar with the word hallow.
Yeah.
So it's actually, this is what it says. So this is when, fast forward a bit into history, this is when Christian leaders tried to merge their traditions with the Samhain. That's a Celtic tradition, to make it easier for people to convert to Christianity. So they introduced what they called All Hallows Eve, which was about like remembering saints and praying for the dead. But over time it mixed with the Celtic vibes and all those things, and so it became Halloween. So Halloween is actually from All Hallows Eve. Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that All Hallows is that they're just celebrating saints and praying for the dead. So there's actually a Christian. It's the other way around now.
Okay,
Instead of
what if
something else and Christian took over?
What if it's if people doing it there's a devilish aspect to it, which to be honest for most Christians it seems like it, because you have people dressing scary and all of those things. What's your view on it? Would you still participate in it?
Yeah, this one is an emphatic no for my children and myself and my wife and everybody else down my line.
Why is that?
It's an emphatic no.
Yeah.
Because unlike all the other celebrations where the derivation of some of those celebrations are towards Christ, honoring Christ, and then there's just some other things added to it, like some secular things. This one, it's actually specifically embedded in devil, demonic things, demonic characters. And when you celebrate those things, even if it's not your intention, there is a way that your kids can embrace what they're seeing. If your kid sees the devil, then they're going to embrace that kind of thought, and they will normalize that kind of view. Whereas if you tell your kids that, this is, we're celebrating this because, Christ died and he came again, but I want to give you some food and candy, just to celebrate the season, that's all fine. Whether it's a bunny or a rabbit or anything, it's all fine. There's nothing demonic specifically about it. It's a celebration. But Halloween, wearing devil, wearing demonic things.
What if you buy angel outfit for your child, and your child goes in as an angel?
That's true,
door to
but
door?
the problem is that most of the culture, because look, even for Christmas and Easter, when you celebrate it with other people around, like it's still not quite demonic. It's more just Easter celebrations, and it's still fine for them to converse and enjoy, as long as you also explain to them as well, like this world. But Halloween, you're actually dealing with people who are dressing very badly, demonically.
Yeah.
Like,
But your child does not have to dress like that. You don't have to
yeah,
dress
but
like
my
that.
child has been exposed to other people who are dressing like that.
What about you, AY? What's your view? Would you allow your child to celebrate
We
Halloween?
only celebrate Christ culture in my house. Finish.
Okay.
Any other culture outside it is not celebrated. The end.
Okay.
It's simple for me. Like that.
For me, I guess I will look at it from a different perspective because
Okay.
you know I was actually having this conversation with my wife and I said, you know, I think a lot of time us Christians we like we are not proactive. So for me, like I guess with Halloween, we could always try to look for a way to, you know, claim it and
Appropriate it for ourselves.
you know, move it to the kind of. So for example, one thing I'll do, you know, I've not done this, but I think it's a good idea. If people are doing Halloween trick or treats, dress wherever, and they come knock to my door, I can set up, you know, yes, have all the candies, but have like a little track. Because it's kids, it will be kids friendly. Okay, tape the lollies to the track or flyer, whatever, to each one of them. It's more work, but when I give them the lolly, I also give them that Jesus loves you. And as a parent, you see that you don't like it, next year, don't make your child come and knocking on my door. So for me, it's if you look at it that way, I don't see it
When you
as
put it like that.
yeah, because
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
I get what you're saying. But you know what? See, let's not even kid ourselves. For every celebration, there's a strong ode to that celebration.
yes.
There's a spirit
So
behind the
it's
celebration.
the spirit of
So if I get what you're saying,
yeah.
saying I get what you're saying. The only part I want to talk about is when you say, as Christians, let us be smart and we can hijack that.
you can
situation.
use it to your
I understand you. I get what, like that thing you said now. It's good. That idea is good. What I'm saying, what I want to bring out is for every celebration, there's a strong ode.
But does it mean that you are celebrating it?
Wait, there's a strong ode in charge that period. If you are not spiritually
So the
designed,
spirit
now
of
don't
God.
go and, if God has not led you to go and take over that strong ode and change that season, if you take it on yourself,
Greater is it that is in me that is in the world.
well, if you are ready to fight that battle, bye.
I'm ready to fight it because
you understand what I'm
I get
trying
your
to say?
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries.
But I think we need to be creative. We can't be thinking black and white. That's my own view.
Okay.
We can't be thinking black and white.
Like, no, don't
we
do
need
that.
to be proactive.
No,
For
no.
example, when you know Paul went to, you know, this place where they are serving the unknown God, he actually said, this unknown God is wrong. You know, he said, this unknown God, I actually know the God, and then he introduced them to the gospel of Christ. You know, so that's being.
But God was sending Paul to that place.
Yeah. But I don't think that constitutes as being
That's what I'm
celebrating
saying.
Halloween.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's just
Okay,
being
yeah, so,
creative.
okay,
isn't
that
it?
makes sense.
It's being
Being
creative.
creative is there. I'm not saying
Because
not
me,
to be
I
creative.
wouldn't also even mind going out, dress, you know, in a way that is not devilish or demonic, and
talking about
somehow
Christ.
using that way to evangelize.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think that's a bad idea.
I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It's
yeah.
not a bad idea, but I'm reminding you that if you are going to do that, also be reminded that there are strong odes that celebrate seasons, that are in charge of seasons. And if you are going to be doing anything contrary to the vision and mission of that strong ode, you will have to contend with it.
And you should be able to contend with it as Christian.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you think you can contend with it?
See, the battle that God has not given me charge over. Wait, please. Let me. The battle that God has not commissioned into my hand.
You know, a lot of times we give the devil too much credit.
Honestly,
I think we give the devil too much credit.
When the God that created the earth says the earth is for him, you want to go and be. Do you know more than the God?
Do I know
more than the God that created the earth?
But you know something? This is funny. Hopefully, this is what you want to say as well. But it reminds me of all this discussion that we talk about juju and all these things, and we're like, oh,
we overestimate it.
Yes, because anytime somebody look, it's not that I don't believe in juju, but you know, every time somebody brings it up and says, "I don't do that," you know, this thing is. Have you seen how they've turned a man to a cat and all those things?
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to look left and right, and I'll just entertain it. But let me tell you something. I've always standed on the fact that nothing can overcome
Of course.
God, when God has me
course.
in His
Of
hand,
course.
it's done.
Yeah,
It's
that's
done.
it.
Anybody
Of
else,
course.
they should
Affliction
try
No
me.
strong good.
I understood you guys. Affliction shall not rise the second time. But the Bible also says that I can only remember it in Yoruba now. I don't know how to put it in English.
Say it in Yoruba.
But the Yoruba
Translate
is èrè wà fún ọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ tó fọgbọ́n ṣe é.
Yeah, even that Yoruba is
the
strong
person
for
who is
me.
at the back, can they translate it for us?
But let's leave it like that. I'm just saying. Like, who listens and you do apply wisdom, apply wisdom. Apply wisdom.
But
wait,
yeah,
I'm just
okay.
saying. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying we don't believe
No,
in
no,
Christ.
I agree with you.
I'm just
and
saying in everything we do, let's always apply wisdom. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm not going to even elaborate
all right,
on it.
so you've heard our views. Please, each and everyone that is watching this, episode, let us know your view. Do you celebrate Christmas, Easter? Why? Do you celebrate Halloween? Why? And yeah, share and and give us your perspective on these topics.
Is there anything wrong with actually celebrating it? You may not celebrate it, but is there anything wrong with celebrating it? Yeah, let us hear your thoughts.
You've heard ours. You heard ours. I stand on the side.
See you later.